have an idea of how sentence analysis works, we can go ahead and begin learning how to diagram those sentences. In other words, how to draw the picture, the pictorial representation of the sentence elements and how they function together. In the first sentence, we have, she was there. This is a very uncomplicated sentence, and it's a perfect pattern 1 sentence, so we'll begin there, and it will help us determine what the essential and diagramming elements are. So the first thing we have to draw for all diagrams is this baseline, and this is the line on which most of our essential grammatical elements will fall. So the first word I'll include is she, my simple subject. I then draw a line that separates my subject from my predicate. And remember, we did that when we did the sentence analysis. We drew this line that separated the complete subject from the complete predicate. We'll do the exact same thing here. And so on the other side of the line, we include our to-be verb was. And in sentence pattern 1s, we have an adverb that finishes the sentence. And what we do here is we draw a lower diagonal line where we put our adverb, and that line is directly underneath the word that it modifies. Remember, adverbs are generally speaking modifiers, and so this goes under the word that it modifies. And I'm going to talk a little bit more in a minute about how this can be a sentence finisher, but not an essential grammatical element as represented in the diagram. So that brings us, so this is our pattern 1, and we always put our pattern number beside our diagram. Even though Vito doesn't ask you to do that in the instructions in her exercises, I will definitely ask you to, and we'll take points off on your homework assignments if the pattern number is not there. So in sentence pattern number 2, remember that this is our subject, be verb, and our predicate adjective, and we already did the analysis of this particular sentence. So again, I'm going to draw my baseline just like I did above, and we know that students is the subject. I draw my line that separates my subject from my predicate, put my be verb, and then I have to draw this diagonal line, this slanted line, and some people call it an upper diagonal, that separates my verb from my finished sentence here, which is an adjective, sleepy. So this is my predicate adjective, sleepy. So in this sentence, I also have to account for this modifier, this adjective, some, right? It answers the question, how many students? Some students. So we need to put that under the word that it modifies. So modifiers, adjectives and adverbs, go under the word that they modify on a lower diagonal line, some. All right, so this is my pattern 2 diagram. So like I said, notice that in these 2 sentences, even though this adverb in sentence pattern 1 finishes the grammatical sense of the meaning, in fact the semantic sense of the meaning, we don't put it on the diagonal, we don't include a diagonal line and then with the there on the baseline. The reason I believe that we do this in Reed-Kellogg is to differentiate it from a 2. So they want the diagram to look a little bit different. And also, in a number 2 sentence, as Vito tells you, in a 2 through 5 actually, we have this upper diagonal line that indicates what follows is a subject complement. This is not exactly a subject complement. There really expresses action, right? And it explains where somebody was. It doesn't talk about the state of being of the subject. It talks about where the subject existed, not the state in which she existed. Here, however, sleepy has to do with the state of the students. Okay, so sleepy is describing students, whereas there isn't. So it's really a distinguishing mark that it's treated more as a modifier here, even though it is finishing the grammatical sense of the sentence. So as Vito tells you, you could think of this diagonal line here that indicates a subject complement as a circle test, right? That it is referring strategically and strictly back to students. That's what the line is supposed to show.